Alright, welcome back to the Agamemnon game review. This is part 3. Today's video is being recorded on the 4th of September 2018. It's 8:43 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. This video was captured on the 23rd of August 2018. Again, it's part 3 of a 3-part video. We're just finishing up the tail end of these quests. They're along the west side of the city, along the dock. This series of quests aren't really all that difficult. They involve more of walking around and just knocking out some people here, knocking out some people there. I didn't really find any of the mobs in the area to be all that stressful. At least from a Warlock point of view. Myself, as a player, I try to avoid combat as much as possible. I don't really like fighting unnecessary battles. But at the same time, I'm not afraid to fight a battle. I'm more of a path of least resistant type of person. As I've been looking back on all the videos that we shot through this whole series of the Battle for Azeroth, going back to the 13th of August. It's picked together a nice little mosaic. Pretty detailed mosaic, too. Based on other videos I have observed over the last couple days. Certainly a comprehensive review of the Battle for Azeroth. I've been thinking back. I was earlier today about Sylvanas Windrunner and more of the Banshee part of her character. One thing that people lose sight of fact is that a Banshee is a demon. It's a spirit. It can't be killed. And I wish at some point in the story that they would bring that aspect of the character out more. I also speculate, and I hope that she's been showing more and more ability to do necromantic type magic, and I wonder if maybe one of the powers she has developed over the years is a necromantic type power. And I was thinking from a player character point of view, that would be pretty cool because if you look at a Warlock, it's more of a demon type of pet character where there's no real necromantic class in the game. When you think of it, raising skeletons and stuff, and that would be kind of cool. I would think it'll be almost similar to Warlock, but with skeletons and ghouls and different form of necromantic. Gonna use the term paraphernalia. And it seems like if they were to go in a direction, that would be a pretty cool direction for the game, I would think. Something that hasn't really been addressed in the game is the death side of the game. and, and I say that after reading Chronicles. If you look at the description of the order of the universe, death is opposite of life in their little ordering. Let me get my book out. So this will make more sense. The ordering of the universe here is this comes from Chronicles. It says the cosmology. Death is opposite that of life, and order is opposite of disorder, and shadow is opposite of light. But necromantic is congruent with arcane, and they're both on the side of shadow. You think of arcane in the story like your what is it, Lady Jaina Proudmoore, Khadgar. They're really agents of shadow and not agents of light. If you look at the way that the cosmology is ordered in the Warcraft universe. And my point with the necromantic is they're the middle sort of tier for the death, because you have a death, necromantic, and undead, which begins with decay. And they're tied to earth and in between the Shadowland, and they're meshed between air and earth, the elements, and then before you get to the reality. And one of the characteristics of shadow is they're orderly, and death is a part of order, or a companion of order, I should say. Whereas life, on the other hand, is part of disorder or chaos. Because if you really look at life in the universe, at least in World of Warcraft, it's very chaotic. There's no order to it. It's just every little species goes about doing its own little thing, and so forth. And the Burning Legion were part of the disorder side of the tree, and life and nature were companions of that. And if you look at a lot of the expansions, and if you look at this illustration, it kind of explains the route that all the expansions have taken over the course of the different years. Even going all the way back to Warcraft. Remember, in the beginning, we were fighting the Burning Legion, who they oppose the Titans. And then their congruence with nature. And they're on the side of the light, side of the tree. Right? You would think that that would be opposite of the illustration, though. You would think the Burning Legion fell in disorder should be where they put the arcane stuff, and the arcane stuff should be where the Burning Legion is because you would think arcane is closer to the light, right? But if you look at all the higher level mages, this going back to like medieval type mages, or level mages, all of them were somewhat dark characters to begin with. Shady. It's not until you get to Jaina Proudmoore that you really have these like honorable kind of characters. And I don't know if Jaina Proudmoore is really an honorable kind of character. I think more than anything, early in her character development, she was kind of naive to things, and now she's not as naive, but I think she's still kind of gullible. the story. She has these real, like, childlike innocence of the way things should be in life, which don't really hold up to the reality of the world they live in. Here we are, we're coming up to this little boat here. It's a pretty cool scene coming up. That's why I kept the camera rolling after an hour. Now, if you're going through this part of the story, or have gone through this part of the story, I started in the town area of the expansion, and I haven't done like the north area and the northwest area yet. So you might be seeing some of these sequences in a different order in which I did. So, in the progression I did, I'll talk more about it as it happens. But the events that are coming up, for some people, didn't happen till much later in the story. That being the stabbing of the king. Here's another guy talking about Zul. It's very clear that Zul has some ulterior motives. I kind of figured that out when I first met him. So it's not like they're telling me something I don't know.
I envy witnessing the birth of a new Troll Empire firsthand. A petty Rastakhan will not experience the same pleasure. Name your lord, so I may name mine.
Again, I always try to pick objects that will enhance demonology. So anything with mastery or haste. My priorities of skill is haste, mastery, critical strike, and versatility. Although I would think versatility would have greater influence. Here come the cutscenes.
No, Habutu. Traitor. Caesar. You should have listened to Jelanji. You have grown stagnant, old friend. You let our kingdom rot and decay. But I have foreseen the Troll Empire rising again. No more treaties with outsiders. No more bargains with Loa. Blood is our path now. The path of Gahoon.
Should we go after them?
No. In time, they will come to us.
Little Star Wars homage there going on, huh? So we end up to go speak to the king, but I decided to do some of these side missions on the west side first. Mainly because they showed up in that order on my quest pad, and as I stated in the previous videos, I always go by the order of which the missions occur in the quest pad. Now that war cache thing might throw one off, but that's really an outlier in my opinion. This is the first opportunity we get to speak to Vayne in the story, which I was kind of excited about. He's been here and he's been standing here, and it's the first time we get to hear from him in the story.
I am Bane, High Chieftain of the Torrent.
Here's our next piece of Azeroth gear. Kind of cool, huh? I've since been told that you can respec Azeroth stuff. I didn't know we could. But someone said it's over by the transmog place, which is on the west side of the pyramid. I know where the transmog place is, so I didn't know you could respec these. I imagine the gear would have the same type of structure as it did before, with the white, green, blue, and purple. So I chose the one that improved the Imp's Hand of Gul'dan thing here. I went with the one that gave more demonology improvements. One thing you always should do is carefully read through these things before you blindly accept something. The game. So here's the next set of missions. The Wounded King.
Earth Mother, watch over you.
Now I kind of went over here and researched this Azeroth stuff. And then I decided to do all the adventuring tomorrow, or in the next video. Because we were already 20 minutes over our normal recording time. One thing I always like to do is repair stuff.
Talk to me. Be seeing ya.
Go. Next piece of Azeroth gear. Two things that looked really good was this Insight to Pack, or the thing with Hand of Gul'dan. I went with the Hand of Gul'dan because I use that more, and it goes back to what I was saying. You want to, anytime you can buff your strengths, you should do that. It's rather than shore up a weakness. Bulwark of the Masses. Impressive visage. I think I went with Bulwark of the Masses. Because it would make me more tankier. Which gives your guy a little more survivability when you're being hit. Which, if you're a Warlock Demonology, everyone's going to be targeting on you anyway, so it's good to get as much defense as possible, especially since you're only wearing cloth armor.
How you doing? Stay away from the voodoo.
And that brings us to the end of this episode. See you next time. Enjoy your day. Have fun. Bye bye.